Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Wednesday. I hope the week is going well. Wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world, halfway through the week already, the clock continues to tick down before Arsenal's first pre-season game in the summer. Not long now till that match over in the States against Bournemouth. The players obviously at London Colney at the moment, going through their paces at the start of pre-season. The players who are already there, as I said yesterday, so the ones who didn't have any international action over the summer, they will be joined by some of the players who got knocked out of the international tournaments early by the end of this week, the likes of Alexander Zinchenko, of course, and then everyone flies over to the States for the USA tour. And I hope all of you watching in America who will be going to at least one of those games will have a very, very good time over there. So we've got plenty to talk about today. We're going to talk about Kieran Tierney and his future. Got a question on him. Everyone picking up on the fact he was in that Arsenal video that they posted yesterday from the training ground. We'll talk about William Saliba. We'll talk about João Neves, a player that Arsenal have been watching. Could well be on his way to France with PSG. So we'll talk about that. I've got lots of questions and comments from you guys as well. And just to say, myself and James Ben just sitting down in a little bit, not too long actually, in a couple of hours. Going to start recording at 12 p.m. So lunchtime, basically midday UK time, Inside Arsenal Extra Time. That'll be published a little bit later on today. If you want to get a question or a comment included in that show, then you need to get down pretty early by the time you watch this, and then leave whatever it is you want us to talk about. I'll pull some of them together and get them included in the show. But you don't have too long. Like I said, 12 p.m. Midday kickoff time for myself and James Benj with Inside Arsenal Extra Time this week. Right, let's start with Kieran Tierney, shall we? Who, as you can see here, was in the video that Arsenal posted from the training ground, talking to Martin Odegaard. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the clip here. He was also shown in the gym as well, talking to someone else. Can't remember who it was. None of the images of him or the video captures of him were him actually training or doing anything like that. Now, we know he's got this bad hamstring injury that he picked up for Scotland at the Euros, which ruled him out of the Euros early and was just a hammer blow dose to him and to Arsenal's hopes of moving him on. I mean, he'd spoke very publicly before the Euros how he knew that this was probably going to be the summer where he was going to be leaving Arsenal. Arsenal absolutely willing to let that happen as well. But the worst possible outcome for him, for the player and for the club, was him to have an injury like that in the Euros, when I think the hope was that he would go there and put himself firmly in the shop window and really start to attract plenty of interest. The injuries absolutely sort of stopped that in its tracks. Any interested club in Kieran Tierney now are going to be like, whoa, what's going on with that? How bad is it? But I mean, it looked good on the video yesterday. You know, he was walking around. He wasn't just sitting limping or anything like that, which was a good thing. And lots of you have been sort of getting in touch about it. I've had it on Twitter. I've had it on YouTube. As Aurora Freak says, it's really quiet on the incoming side, which is understandable. But as a fan, I love being on Twitter and seeing these rumours. Calafiori is on holiday, and Arsenal obviously don't want to pay his salary when he's on holiday when they got his approval. My question is, with Tierney being injured, probably won't get a move. Do you think that has put the incoming side of Calafiori or so on the side? I think you're in there. Do you think that it sort of puts the transfer on hold for Calafiori? No, I don't think there's any way that Kieran is linked with the Calafiori transfer. I think whatever happens with Kieran Tierney, Arsenal will try and sign Ricardo Calafiori. If they don't sign him, it's not going to be because of Kieran Tierney getting injured. It's because they haven't been able to agree a deal with Bologna. I still think the most likely outcome, depending on the severity of the injury, which I haven't found out yet. I don't think anyone's found out yet because it's certainly not been reported anywhere. You know, if the injury is one that's going to keep him out for, I don't know, September, October, then, you know, the likelihood is Kieran's going to stay, certainly for the first half of the season, because no one's going to sign him when he's injured. But if this is an injury that's going to be done and dusted and he's going to be back before the end of the transfer window, then I still think the likely option is that he will go. But I imagine it might well end up being a loan again, because I'm just not sure any club with some money burning a hole in their pocket who are going to be looking at left backs are going to be able to look with any confidence at Kieran Tierney and think that is an investment we need to make. I'm sure he's be better in terms of quality than most of the other left backs that are potentially on the market, but a club is going to have to weigh up. And Arsenal would, if you put Arsenal in the same situation and you were looking for a left back and Tierney was available, the first thing you'd think was, oh, this the injury record is really, really serious, and he's just coming back off this another long-term bad injury. And so I think it's going to put a lot of clubs off in terms of a permanent signing. So I think the most likely option probably will be a loan deal, but hopefully, just for Tierney's sake, he can get back quickly and he can get himself a move and he can go out and start playing football, because my word, he just absolutely deserves it. And I really hope it can happen, because he's been such an important player of the Arsenal rebuild. The very, very start of it all, and it was great. You could see the affection the fans had for him, because he was just the type of player you wanted Arsenal to sign. And I just hope he can get himself fit. I hope he can get himself a mood, and he can get out playing again where he's most happy. Okay, team of the tournament. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. I'm sure you probably have. I mean, if you can see, look straight in there, William Saliba, centre-back. Fantastic recognition for his first ever international tournament, and he gets named in the team of the tournament. Deservedly so. He was absolutely fantastic for France. France were pretty awful the whole way through the tournament, but Saliba was absolutely brilliant at the heart of the defence. So really good for him. Congratulations. Just another sign of the impressive defender that Arsenal have on their hands in William Saliba. First major tournament for your country. You're going into it, 2 weeks before the tournament, no one was even expecting you to start. And yet you force your way in those final warm-up games, and then you play as well as you can do and get yourself in the team of the tournament. It's just feels like there's nothing too big a challenge for William Saliba. He can just pass every challenge with flying colours. I don't know how Kyle Walker has sneaked in there. Kyle Walker has been exceptional for a long, long time for England, for Manchester City. But he was way off it in this tournament. It was the worst I've seen Kyle Walker play for a long, long time. Consistently, he just did not have a good tournament at all. How on earth he has managed to get himself into the team in a tournament? Obviously, it's dominated by Spanish players, Rodri, Fabian Ruiz, Olmo, Williams, and Emile, all in there. I'm not sure how Musiala is the centre forward in that as well. He didn't play as a centre forward for Germany, and so I don't know how he's managed to sneak his way into the. He was good, Musiala. He was really exciting to watch at times. But yeah, I'm not sure how he's managed to get into that team in the tournament as a central striker. I think there's certainly some others who could have got in there ahead of him. But yeah, dominated by Spain, as you can imagine. But fantastic to see Saliba in there. And as I said, just another indicator of what a fabulous, fabulous talent Arsenal have on their hands. Transfer-wise, it was quite a busy day yesterday, Arsenal-wise, in terms of the show that I did. There's plenty to talk about in terms of Emile Smith-Rowe, Mikel Merino. There's lots going on. Not quite so much this time. Bit quiet in terms of what there is to discuss transfer-wise for Arsenal. It's going to be like that. You're going to have busy days. You're going to have lower days. Interesting, though, with João Neves, who is a player that Arsenal like and have been monitoring, as have pretty much every single top club across Europe, because he's a hell of a talent over at Benfica. Stories now emerging from France that PSG are really pushing to get this deal done. Obviously, my information has always been, when it comes to João Neves, that Benfica are not going to be entertaining anything other this summer than the release clause, which is over 100 million. And so it'll be interesting to see if that remains the case, because I'm just not sure PSG will go that high for João Neves. I'm not sure anyone will go that high. As talented as he is, I think it's just a hell of a lot of money for a kid that young and that untested. So I'd be surprised, even with the money that PSG have, if they go that far. I never expected Arsenal would. Yes, they've certainly been monitoring him, but never expected Arsenal would go for that release clause. And I'd be surprised even if PSG did as well. Lots of talk about Nico Williams as well in terms of Arsenal. Again, a player we know right at the top of Arsenal's recruitment list. They like the recruitment team, but will it happen this summer? I can't sit here right now and say it will. The fate. It certainly feels like his favoured move right now with Barcelona, if he's going to go anywhere. But can Barcelona afford him? Maybe not. Could Arsenal? I would say yes, they can. Can they get it done? I don't know. We'll wait and see. But I think that would certainly add a lot of excitement to this transfer window if Arsenal could end up getting Nico Williams. But I think we're a long, long, long way from that happening as it stands. Right, some reaction to what we spoke about yesterday. Obviously, Mikel Merino was a big talking point across Arsenal's fans, sort of social media and anything like that. Yesterday, we were talking about it on this show. Arsenal's interest in Merino, the midfielder from Real Sociedad, just turned 28, can play as a 6, can play as an 8. Lots of responses to what we were discussing. Ferro Moan said, would love Merino, think he'd be a top party replacement with Mikel coaching him up some more, but there's some different opinions there below. To be honest, I find the thought of signing Merino underwhelming. If you sign a player of his age, they need to be exceptional, world class. I just don't see that with Merino. And then we've got David saying Merino is great in the air, exceptional aerial dual stats. And Ed Corner says, what happened to Zubimendi? I thought we were close to signing him. No, never close to signing Zubimendi. Arsenal like Zubimendi. But as I've reported many a times, it's always been a case with him. They're not sure if he really wanted to leave Real Sociedad. He's got a much higher release clause, obviously. So I'm not saying Arsenal won't end up signing Zubimendi, but just as it stands, I haven't heard that they are close to pushing the boat out and trying to trigger that release clause. But he's a good player, no doubt about it. I mean, Merino is... I spoke about it yesterday. He just ticks a lot of the boxes in terms of what Arsenal are looking for from midfielder. The versatility, obviously, absolutely essential. And he can play as a 6 and he can play as an 8. He's left-sided, which Mikel Arteta likes. There's certainly a big space in that team potentially for a left-sided, more advanced box-to-box type midfielder. As David says there, he's great in the air, exceptional aerial dual stats. We know that Mikel likes that. He likes to have a physical team. He's building a very physical and strong and tall team as well. So there's lots of attributes there which tick the boxes. Plus, he's affordable. He only has a year left in his contract. It seems like Sociedad don't want to lose him on a free, so they would be willing to cash in. So there's lots of sort of ticks in the box next to Merino. But the comment there from GSPPPSPG says that, to be honest, I find the thought of signing Merino underwhelming. If you sign a player of his age, they need to be exceptional, world class, and he doesn't see that with Merino. A lot of people are of that thought process as well. I get that impression from people who have been messaging me and responding to it all as well, that a lot of people like the idea, but there's a lot of people just think for that, signing a player of that age, maybe they need to be slightly better, and going to raise the level more if they come in. And would Merino really raise the level of this Arsenal team? I'm kind of like, I'm not sure. I haven't seen enough of him at Sociedad. I don't sit here and watch Sociedad all the time. If Mikel Arteta and Edu think he will, then I'll put my trust in them, because I think they've done very good stuff in the transfer market. And on the whole, their recruitment has been very, very good. But I do just have those slight reservations of, would he raise the level enough to take Arsenal to another level? And I'm not sure. But like I said, I'd put my faith in Arteta and Edu if this was a transfer that ends up getting over the line. Lots of response to Emile Smith-Rowe as well. Charlie here saying, knowing Fulham, and after their ridiculous bargain with Leno, they'll probably bid 3 million. About time we stripe those chances. 35 million absolute bottom line. Yeah, I think that figure is right. That's what I'd be demanding for Emile Smith-Rowe as a minimum, I have to say. And Tony says, surely the sensible thing would be to keep Smith-Rowe and get rid of Vieira. Smith-Rowe is a far better player, homegrown and proven in the Premiership, which Vieira definitely isn't. I can't disagree with any of that. The only thing is, can you get rid of Vieira? Probably not. Certainly not for any sort of decent money. Can you get rid of Smith-Rowe? Yes, I think you can, because there's interest from him for the exact reasons that you've listed there, and you would get some decent money. And, I've said it all along. You guys have heard me all along. You always complain about it, that I speak about too much and that I rate Smith-Rowe too much. But I think he's a fabulous player. I wish Arteta had used him more. But if he's not going to use him, then there's just no point in him being here. And so he may as well go, because it's good for him, because he deserves to be playing. And it's good for Arsenal, because then surely Mikel Arteta will be able to invest that money in a player he just trusts a little bit more and would use a little bit more, because it's just doing no one any good having a player like Emile Smith-Rowe sitting on the bench. It just makes no sense for lots of reasons. Aaron says, hey, Charles, I've read your articles on Saka, Ramsdale, Rice and Raya set to return late for pre-season. How will Arsenal prepare pre-season in USA without these players? Only notable first-team goalie left is Carl Hein. Surely he needs a low move. Rice can be replaced with Jorginho and Partey, but I think Saka's absence will be a huge blow in Arsenal's preparation. Saliba and Gabriel will also return late, as they were in the knockout stages of the tournament. Does this mean potential youth call-up during the pre-season games and tour? Surely Wanyeri, Lewis Skelly, Heaven and Setford may get some chances, and maybe even Patino. We all know that wants to move for his career, but we lack some options in the squad. Yeah, look, the club are just going to have to deal with it, and they're not going to be the only club in this position. Lots of clubs across Europe, because of the tournaments, are going to have big names, big players arriving late for pre-season and basically missing most of pre-season. It's just what happens in these summers. So Arsenal are just going to have to deal with it. Like I said yesterday, I fully expect something to happen in the goalkeeping department this week when it comes to transfers. Tommy Setford, I think, will probably be confirmed. It wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal make another bid for Dan Bentley before the US tour. I'm not saying it will definitely happen. They'll definitely sign him, but it wouldn't at all surprise me that they will go back in to try and get him on board before the tour. We'll have to wait and see if that happens. And I think Karl Hein, I don't think he's going to go out on loan just yet. And I think he'll go on the tour as well. So there are goalkeepers there. Like you said, yes, there's no Rice, but you've got plenty of players you can play instead of Rice. And look, Reece Nelson might well go this summer. We know that West Ham are certainly looking at Reece Nelson, but he's here at the moment. He'll be going on the tour, I imagine, unless West Ham whack a bid in the next couple of days. And so he can play on the right-hand side if needed. Fabio Vieira can play on the right-hand side if needed. You just got to deal with these situations in pre-season. Yes, you'd want everyone. Ideally, you'd want everyone there and everyone to be ready, but it just doesn't happen. And Arsenal will not be the only club in this position when it comes to their best players over pre-season. Yeah, I missed the news of Gareth Southgate resigning yesterday by about 20 minutes after publishing the video, so I didn't get to speak about it. Lots of you mentioned that in the comments. Gunnar Eagle says, "Hi, Charles. With Southgate now gone, what are your thoughts on Arsene Wenger being the next England manager?" No. Not for me. Wouldn't want Arsene doing that at 75 years old or however old he is now. He's just needs to enjoy what he's doing. I know he is enjoying what he's doing. He just does not need the pressure and the scrutiny and the whole country just questioning every move he needs to make as an England manager. But at his age, so no, I wouldn't want that at all. Jack says, "Great work as always, Charles. As expected, Gareth has left England. Do you think this will reopen the door for Ben White to make his eventual return to the England setup going forward? Walker starting to show his age certainly opens the door for him, in my view." Yeah, I mean, Steve Holland's left as well. So yeah, it certainly opens the door. I don't think it's as easy as definitely like Ben White will definitely just go, right, that management team have gone. I'm going to come back now. But I think there'll be conversations had, and Ben White would certainly be a lot more open to going back to playing for England. Now there has been a change in management and the staff, but I don't think it's absolutely a given it will happen straight away. I'm sure there'll be conversations between him, whoever the new manager is, to sort of understand what the situation was and why it happened. And yeah, but it certainly raises the chances of Ben White playing for England again. I'm sure of that. And lastly, now, here's one from Aurora Freak again. Says, "In the training video yesterday, there was no Jesus or Vieira on the pitch. Do you think that was down to the video being cut, or because they've had some issues?" No, I'm not sure. I didn't really notice they weren't in the training video, but they've definitely been out on the pitch training. I know that for a fact. So, as far as I'm aware, there hasn't been any issues. And yeah, they've definitely been out on the pitch, the pair of them. So, so no, I think that's probably just because they weren't in the video itself. But I don't think there's any issues other than that. All right, that's it from me today, everyone. Thank you very much for your time. As always, I really do appreciate it. Like I said, Inside Arsenal Extra Time coming very, very soon with myself and James Benge. If you want to get included in that show, get down below, start with Extra Time, and then put your question or your comment, and I'll pull some of them together and get them included. Until then, have a great day, everyone. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.